thing. Okay, this is a quick devlog update of the most recent feature add-on. Okay, so I'll just get into one of these vehicles and then we'll be able to see the features of the add-on. Alright, so here I am in this Clowny Test 2. And so here you can see in the pause menu there's a new button. It's the cycle camera settings button. And if you click there, you can see there are two lists. Okay? And these whole cams are disabled by default up here. And so list 1 and list 2 are identical, but they interact with cycle next and cycle next 2, cycle previous and cycle previous 2. So if I go to the config and I go to camera controls, you can see there is now cycle next camera, cycle previous camera, and there's cycle next camera 2 and cycle previous camera 2. So, if I go to the cycle camera settings, and so here's a bunch of cameras, I'm going to turn these all off, and then I'm going to turn these all off over here. And okay, so now only these are selected on cycle next camera, and only these are selected on cycle next camera 2, and then I click save, and then I go back. So here I'm in the front cam, and also now you can see that I've added front cam to the upper left. It's not very good, actually. There you can see front cam. You get that showed out here. So now you can see it says front cam kind of towards the upper left. It's not all the way in the upper left because there's going to be a stack of times there when you get to racing. And now if I just hit cycle camera next, then you can see that I cycle through these cameras that are on the first list. And unfortunately, only the cycle camera previous and cycle camera, these other two are not assigned by default. Alright, so then if I go to cycle through these other cameras, you can see that I have a totally separate list of cameras that I'm cycling through. And this is fully customizable in the fact that I can choose which cameras are on each set. In the future, I would like to potentially, I have to look at how easy it would be for me to put in. I would like to make it so that the player can choose the order of the cameras from that menu as well. And then the other thing that would be cool to have, although it's kind of hard because there's a few things in the background that just kind of make it a little bit hard. I have to build a whole system around it. When the player cycles next through one list, that will lose the position of the cycle next on the other list. So what it would be nice to be able to have is that if I cycle next to the camera I want on the one list, and then I go to the other list and I hit cycle next on that list, the first camera that would show up is the last camera that had been cycled to from that list. And then if I just hit cycle next from one list to the next and switched between those two lists, then it would just show the last camera, and the same camera would pop up every time between those two. The problem is that you can also go to those cameras with their appropriate buttons. You know, you don't have to cycle to them. There's a button that you can press to choose each camera. So, I want it to be so that if you choose this camera, and then you cycle cameras, and this camera's on that list, it will cycle away from that camera, which is the way that it works right now. So if I choose this camera and then I cycle away from that camera, it'll cycle from that camera. But that system would interfere with the system that makes it remember which camera was last active on the other list. So that's a possible future feature, but it's not something I'm going to work on right this moment. So that is the cycle camera feature and settings, and also the little indicator. And that's pretty much everything that just got put on there today. It isn't that much to talk about, but it was actually kind of like 8 hours of work to put it all together. So thank you very much.